In today's Leeds news, Old Peacock Centre for Wilko Honour under 18 in Leeds first team training. Farke won't be pushed on Harry Gray. Inter target Meslier. Gruev backs team for goals. And more details on Spertsyan move collapse. Morning folks, welcome back to the Leeds View for your daily news Friday morning, the 19th of September with your news. We will have a match preview out for a live stream later on this evening about 6:30, 7 o'clock. You can check that out if you wanted. Just stats, facts and form, guys. No opinion. We'll keep it short and sweet and we'll give you all the news from both sides of home and away sides. Also, you can see it just over here. Leeds have launched a new merch range for the match day range. You can check out the links down below if you want to support the channel through our partnership with Fanatics. You can do it via the links down below. But let's crack on and get stuck into the news. And we'll start off with an honour for Howard Wilkinson and a connection to the Old Peacock. The iconic Old Peacock has been named as the HQ for the Wilko 92 campaign, and this campaign is a supporter-led initiative to fund a statue for Howard Wilkinson at Ellen Road, the last English manager to win the top flight and the last Leeds United manager to win the top title back in 1992. Jamie Lawson, the owner of Ossip Brewery and of the Old Peacock, emphasised the pub's deep ties to Leeds United and its pride at supporting this campaign. They are also launching a special Wilko 92 ale that will launch in October and will be available. And the proceeds from that will go to the campaign to get the statue built. Dave Tomlinson, the director of the Wilko 92 Limited, has called the pub the perfect home for preserving Howard Wilkinson's legacy. We'll get more information on this over the coming months as we move forward from it, and we'll try and get the lads on as well to have give us a bit more information about this campaign and what you can do to try and support it as well. But it is very much a supporter-led campaign. Leeds have approved it, they are involved in it, but I think some of Leeds' involvement might be halted due to the stadium redevelopment. But we'll try and reach out to the guys. They did ask to come on before. We'll try and get them on during the international break and give us a bit more detail around this project, and a fantastic project, long overdue, to recognise Howard Wilkinson's contributions to Leeds United. Let's move on, talk about under 18, and not the one you think. Well, all the talk yesterday was about Harry Gray and Alfie Creswell. One name slipped under the radar. Leeds United's under 18 midfielder Callum Mills has been involved in first team training at Leeds United this week. And he only turned 17 just yesterday and was part, as I say, of Daniel Farke's training group over the course of this week. The midfielder has enjoyed his first stint training with the first team, but it isn't unusual for Daniel Farke to bring some of the under 18s and under 21 players into his squad to fill gaps that he might have, but also as part of their development as well. But congratulations to Callum Mills for getting the opportunity to train with the first team, as well as happy birthday on turning 17 years of age. Let's move on, and then we'll talk about the youth player that everyone has been talking about, and that is Harry Gray. But we've been here before, a pre-match press conference with questions around the Leeds United youngsters' involvement and playing time in the first team, and we've gotten some detail from the manager's perspective. Catherine Hanna from the BBC West Yorkshire Sport knew Daniel Farke didn't want to answer questions on this, and his body language gave off a very strong vibe of, this is not a topic I want to keep talking about. But he has backed himself to get the best out of the Leeds United youth, but just not yet. In a lengthy answer, Farke explained that he has always developed youth players from his time in the fourth tier in Germany, when he had to develop players to be sold for the club, to his time at Dortmund, where his job was to develop young players to be part of the first team, to Max Aarons at Norwich, and to Archie Gray at Leeds United. But he was keen to point out that this wasn't arrogance, that this was just context to what he was saying. Gray turns 17 next month and is expected to sign his first pro deal at the club. A 2-year deal is the maximum at 17 he can sign. He's expected to sign that 2-year deal until he turns 18, and then at that point sign a slightly longer contract. Farke said that he will make a decision on Harry Gray's involvement based on what he sees on the pitch, and he likely referring to how much involvement he has with the first team in training, and judging Harry Gray against the first team players in a full first team environment, which is a far better level to judge him on than just viewing the under 18s games. Leeds' biggest issue this season and going into the Wolverhampton Wanderers game this weekend has been creating chances for strikers. So making Harry Gray the striker doesn't really fix the issue for Leeds United in terms of creation. If Leeds can sort that issue out in the next couple of weeks, then that might be the right time to introduce Harry Gray into that environment and give him the best possible chance of success. At the moment, if we're not creating chances, he's not going to get chances to score goals, so need to fix that problem first before they talk about that one. But Farke has also said similar around Alfie Creswell as well. Not involved with the first team as much, has been in and out, but a very good player. But he said the same thing on all of them. Give them space, give them time, give them quiet, and let them develop. I think it's a topic Daniel Farke would much rather move on from at this point. But when we're not scoring goals, and he is scoring from 21s, it's always going to be the conversation. It was the same around Joseph, it was the same around Gelhardt, it was the same around Greenwood. It's happened before during 21. So, but there is a massive step up, and it does take time. But we'll move on. And Ilan Meslier found himself back in the Leeds United squad last weekend due to injury to Lucas Perry. But the French shot stopper is in the final year of his current contract, and come January, he can negotiate a free transfer to any club in Europe. And as we get closer to that time, it appears to be picking up a little bit of steam. According to Calcio Mercato, they claim that Milan have identified Meslier as one of their options to replace Jan Sommer this summer. Sommer's deal finishes at the end of the current season. The 36-year-old is expected to move on, but it's not just Ilan Meslier that's been mentioned. Another Leeds United goalkeeper, or ex-Leeds United goalkeeper, has been mentioned. Former Leeds keeper Elia Caprile is also said to be a potential option for Inter Milan, but they say, the report says, I should say, that the free option market is the preferred route for Inter Milan come January, and this is where Meslier comes in. The two main contenders in the report that are said to be considered for Inter Milan's goalkeeping position next summer are Ilan Meslier and Feyenoord shotstopper Justin Bijlow. Once December comes around, we'll likely hear more information on the Ilan Meslier situation, the options that he has and where he is heading. But it appears after the window closed in the summer, Leeds United will now have missed out on bringing in any fee for a goalkeeper that would have represented 100% PSR profit for the club. The only way around this is if the club that are interested in him in January want him to come in a little bit earlier, similar to Trent Alexander-Arnold at Real Madrid, and they can negotiate some form of a nominal fee in order to let him move in January and to give Leeds United money. But if Leeds are to bring in more players will have to leave as well. They're a 25-man squad, so they are maxed out there. So it'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Let's move on and talk about Ilya Gruev's comments on the goals coming for Leeds United. And this weekend, Leeds will play Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have not yet won a game this season and have an opportunity to open a gap against a side that will be viewed as a relegation spot rival this season. It's important, even early on, to try and open the gaps when you can. Midfielder Ilya Gruev spoke to BBC Leeds about the problems in front of goal, and he has backed his side to start scoring goals and has bigged up the squad, saying that there are lots of good players in this team and it's just a matter of time before the ball starts finding the back of the net. Daniel Farke's sides tend to start seasons relatively slowly, and yesterday he even discussed that as well. So maybe all of this is just down to a typical slow start for Farke's sides, and when it clicks, we'll start to see goals going in. And on the topic, Ilya Gruev had the following to say: "We have so many good players, you can see it in training how high the level is. I can feel as a player that this makes me better because every day you have great teammates with a lot of quality and you have always to be aware. I think the Wolves match is going to be in our favour because I think we will get better and better from week to week. We still want to stay calm out of these games. We didn't concede for 2 games, unfortunately, in the last minute against Fulham. In that last minute, it was a tough one. Nobody expects now for us to go to Wolverhampton and score lots of goals. Of course, if it happens, great, and it can happen. We want to stick to our principles, we want to play our football, and the goals will come." Leeds' defensive setup this season has been fantastic, and if they can start finding the back of the net, then the narrative around Leeds' season could shift very quickly away from where it is right now. New players take time, and as we've mentioned, Howard Wilkinson, he famously said it takes about 10 games for new players to settle in. Arsene Wenger famously also said, don't bring in too many players in one window, as it takes them all a long time to settle in. And that's unfortunately the position the Leeds have found themselves in. So we're going to have to give them a little bit of time and hope that it will get better week in, week out. There's a lot of positives to talk about. We just can't talk about them until we start scoring lots of goals. And that's where it is. But let's hope it clicks, and let's hope that starts this Saturday against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Let's move on and give you some more detail on the Edward Spertsyan deal and what has been labelled in Armenia as a collapse of a deal. And a bit more detail, as I say, has come out around the failed move of Edward Spertsyan to Leeds United and Leeds' plan to revisit it in January. According to a report from TERT.am in Armenia, they are claiming that Leeds United did table a structured €15 million bid, which is about £12.5 million, for Edward Spertsyan in the final days and hours of the transfer window. The reason for the collapse, as well as Spertsyan's comments around staying put at Krasnodar at the time, are as follows. Spertsyan's comments about staying are said to be due to him not being made aware of the move being made more concrete, and his opinion at the time when he did the interview was that the move was off and he wouldn't be sold by the club. He makes his comments then assuming he's staying put, and that wasn't necessarily the case at that exact point in time. The issue from Krasnodar's side is slightly more complicated, and the report states that the deal collapsed due to timing and logistical hurdles. Spertsyan was informed late on deadline day that Leeds had come back in, but it was said to be in the final 90 minutes of the window and couldn't get a proposal submitted in time. Sources suggest that the complication relates to the transferring of funds to Russia, which is a complicated problem. You're not allowed to give funds to anybody who is currently under sanctions for the war with Ukraine, which the Krasnodar owner is, but that can be put into a trust or put into other ways in order to get it done, but it can take a little bit of time. The report does then back up yesterday's claims that Leeds do plan to move back in for a move for Spertsyan come January. The player's contract is expiring in 2026, so if Leeds are going to make a move for Spertsyan at any point, they've been linking him for 2 years, this would be the moment to make the move for him come this January. Again, as I said yesterday, from an Irish perspective, I watched him against Ireland and I watched him playing in a number 8 role on that day, not in his normal 10, and absolutely ripped Ireland apart multiple times. So he will be a player I'd love to see Leeds go and grab. Whether they do or not remains to be seen. That £12.5 million, the £10-ish million for Harry Wilson's in and around the same block. We'll see what has to happen, but Leeds will need to get some money in from other avenues if they are to do that. And there are reports of some other new investment in the club. We'll try and get more details on that when it's freely available. But folks, that'll be it for me for the news for this week. Back tonight for the match day preview, stats, form guide, team news from both sides. You can check that out as well. You can check out the links below to Fanatics for the new Leeds United training range. And outside of that, I will see you on Saturday over on bigup.com for the watch along, straight after the game on YouTube for the instant match reaction, and then back next week for more Leeds news. And hopefully things start to pick up and YouTube starts to relax a little bit and give us a chance to keep running with this, and we'll see how we go, folks. Have a great rest of your day. If I don't talk to you over the weekend, enjoy yourself. I'll see you soon. Talk to you. Bye.